I'm Hiddleston, star and executive producer of Loki. I want to start with an upcoming anniversary because May 4th is the 10th anniversary of the Avengers. And obviously, you played Loki in Thor prior to that, but Avengers, Different Beast, Bat of New York, Genesis of Loki the series. So, how does it feel 10 years on to still be playing this beloved character, but in such a new and richer way?
I suddenly feel very old. Basically, I can't believe 10 years has gone by so fast, and I hadn't thought of it until you mentioned it. And amazed, surprised, and delighted that I'm still playing the character. I have loved playing this character in every iteration. It's the Loki seems to contain so much breadth and depth, so many surprises for me, for the audience. It's such an honor to have played him for the length of time that I had. Loki's an ancient character, been around a long time, will be around a lot longer than me. So yeah, feels great.
Mhm. I loved Loki's arc in the MCU Sacred Timeline, but I've thought about this a lot, and I think I prefer his arc on the show.
Oh,
And I think it's because you guys have accomplished so much in the first season, because identity has always been such a huge part of his story.
yeah.
But on the show, in the first episode, he watches his life play out. He realizes he's not unique. He has no control over his life, and then he's this narcissist who meets a version of himself who he finds annoying. So he learns like he's annoying. But then by the end of the season, he learns to care for other people like Sylvie and Mobius. So I was wondering, as an EP and having played his character for so long, like what kind of discussions did you have with Michael Waldron and Kate Herron about where to take Loki by the end of season one?
Joyce, I honestly couldn't have put it better myself. You've really laid it out in the most articulate and eloquent way. Thank you. Because it is all the things you said were absolutely the heart of our intentions. Um, I found it very exciting, and I was very engaged with the idea of breaking Loki open, confronting him with his past, confronting him with what could be construed as his future, um, and the patterns of behavior which have been destructive to others and destructive to himself. And that allowing for a kind of vulnerability and a curiosity which we hadn't seen before. Any questions around identity I've always found interesting. How we define ourselves to ourselves, the context of the stories we tell about ourselves to other people in order to find meaning in the world. And in so many ways, the series was about integrating the disparate fragments of the many selves that Loki is. I think that's a really universal experience. I think all human beings have to integrate the versions of many different. We're constantly having to integrate the fragments of who we are into a whole, and make sense of that. And so the idea of doing that with Loki just seemed a thrilling prospect, because he's the archetypal trickster, the transgressor, the boundary crosser, the shapeshifter, somebody so expert at changing shape. And so the question we had in our minds was, who is he really? Who is Loki? What makes Loki Loki? And the great conceit of the TVA is that putting Loki inside this institution strips him of everything that's familiar. Thor, Odin, Asgard, his magical power, his clothing. And by taking everything away, Loki is challenged to reveal something about what remains, or we were challenged to find what remains of Loki. And and what the new journey is. So it was it was a wonderful idea, and I think Kate and Michael. Kate had the most wonderful take on it when I met her for the first time. Within 5 minutes, I think I asked her, "What do you think the series is about?" And she said, "I think it's about acceptance and permission and love." And I thought, she understood, gets it, you know. Yeah,